Vi är spelskaparna.
Välkommen till spelskaparna Henri Sarasvirta. Idag blir det ett litet specialavsnitt. För det är ju så att du är ju Superjammer of the Year 2016. Och vi kommer prata ganska mycket om Game Jam. Och ja, visst förstår du lite svenska, Henri?
Jag talar lite svenska, men inte bra.
Nej, så jag tror att det är bäst att vi will switch to English. I think that would be better.
Yeah, that is good. Then I will understand something.
That's perfect. But yeah, so we're going to talk about you, and we're also going to talk about game jams. Could you tell me what is a game jam, just if someone doesn't know?
Game jams are like this collection of people who want to do games, and you usually have a limited time for game jam, and the most common one I think is 48 hours. And at the start you get a theme for the jam, or it can be without a theme also. Then you start form your teams and start doing games based on that theme. And after 48 hours, you have a game done. Or if not, then at least you had some fun.
And how would you say that those games differ from a game that you can buy on Steam or something like that?
The quality control is non-existent because basically all the testing done is by the game developers and the people in the team, and that usually doesn't count enough to make really good quality games, because in my knowledge development time for a game is 20% goes to the main stuff to get the game working, and then 80% is testing and polishing.
Yeah. And when you make a game in that short amount of time, you might neglect a lot of stuff. Okay, we'll never manage to make this thing good, so let's just skip it, and then it's okay. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because the time is really limited, so just you tend to skip a lot not so important stuff, and then just maybe decide, I will do this later when I have more time, and then you don't have that time at any point.
Do you remember the first Game Jam that you ever attended?
Yeah, it was in 2010 during the Global Game Jam, which is the largest Game Jam event of the year, I think. It was the first year the event was held in Finland, in my local town of Tampere. And I actually spotted it randomly when one of the organizers was doing university studies at our company and had left this leaflet that had advertisement of Game Jam coming up. And I decided to see what it's all about.
And how was the experience?
It was awesome. Actually, in the first years, the Finnish Game Jam used to have these competitions where they had judges that checked all the games out on Sunday, and then they awarded the best ones. And the game I was making got awarded the Best Game of the Year award.
Uh-huh.
Best Game of the Jam, I mean, not year.
And what kind of game was that?
It was a game where you play as this young guy who has survived the zombie apocalypse, and he's the last living person, and you have to imitate being a zombie by shouting into your microphone brains. And then it was it had this level meters like in SingStar, and you had to hit the certain notes to keep the zombies believing that you're part of the group and not a human.
Interesting. It sounds a bit challenging, technical wise, to be able to make that in such a short while that a game jam is.
Yeah, that actually has been one of my main focus on game jams, that I'm always trying to do something that's hard to do, because that's that's the best way to educate yourself on like programming wise.
Oh, yeah. And how long was this game jam?
It was the 48 hours, which is the standard for global game jams.
Yeah. And like, did you have any sleep?
That year, about 4 hours.
4 hours in 48 hours.
Yes, I was a young person then.
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking before, and you seem to be able to do quite a lot of work without sleeping that much.
It's a talent I achieved early on in my life.
Okay. Do you have any kind of record?
Yeah, the longest I've gone without sleep was 3.5 days during assembly 2000.
And that is more of a regular LAN, but still very similar to game jam.
Yeah, it's a demo party.
Yeah.
So actually, it used to be like in Sweden you had the DreamHack. DreamHack is nowadays like it's pure LAN only, but it used to be a demo scene party also. So basically, just playing in LAN, having very fast internet. As a young person, it was like I had to take everything that I can during the weekend we were there. So, but then at that point I learned my limits because after like 3.5 days, the hallucinations were pretty odd.
Okay, what did you see? What happened?
I was sitting on my desk. We had like these huge desks where you could put your computer, and then next to you there was another bench, and people were having their computer there and so on. So like rows of computers. And when I looked to my left, I saw the computers, but they started to curve around me. When I looked to my right, they started to curve around there, and they like connected behind me. So I was inside a circle of benches that were curving around me.
And
it's odd that I can still remember how it looked. At that point, I was like, no, I need to sleep now.
And you just slept like by your computer, or do you remember?
Yeah. Just put like a pillow in front of my 17-inch CRT monitor and head to that. So, and few hours later, I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. But have you been part of many demo parties and the demo scene as well?
Yeah. Well, I started at Assembly when I was 16 in the year 2000. And after that, I have participated to each of the Assembly parties and then at other parties in Finland. Haven't went abroad though, so about 3 parties per year is
okay.
The average.
And you still do it?
Yeah.
So
nowadays, it's like more about not staying awake all the time, but more about like meeting friends and doing something cool.
But that's interesting because in this podcast where I've almost only interviewed Swedish people actually, so it's about time to talk with someone from Finland. But many people who are like hot shots today started off in the demo scene. That's a classic, especially if they're like in the 40s or something like that.
Yeah, that's same in Finland. For example, the I think most known Finnish AAA company Remedy is made mostly of like, well, it was a demo scene group that started it. So.
Yeah, and they were. Do you know if they have been participating in any of the demo parties that you have went to?
No, I don't think so. They were a bit before my time in the 19s and late 80s.
Oh yeah, but still, and from what I can see is that the demo scene is very niche today, but the game jam scene is bigger and more people are doing that. So like the young people who today that come into the gaming industry might have been into the game jam scene and participating in a lot of game jams. So there seem to be like there are similarities like between the two communities.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the best things I like about game jams is that they remind me of how my demo scene days used to be in the early days. Like nowadays, it takes like a few months of my time to make a demo for some party. When I was starting, it was like just while the party is going on, just do something, and that's the nicest thing in game jams, that you actually start at the like scratch in the beginning, and then just do whatever you can in the 48 hours or 24 or 1 hour or something.
Yeah. So the ambition level is too high, or it is high when it comes to demos nowadays.
Yeah, because, well, yeah, if you want to do something that looks cool, well, I know some people can do it in like really short time, but I am not one of those. Unless I use like some tools like Unity or other graphics libraries, but with the demo scene, I want to do like have something that I've done almost from scratch.
Yeah. And that's I think that one interesting thing with game jams is also that since games can be so very different, it can even be hard to compare them, because one game might be very visually ambitious, while one has a really interesting game mechanic, or yet a third is only sound based or whatever. So it's really hard to because demos are usually, the thing is like they're supposed to be very visual.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case when it comes to a game from a game jam.
Yeah, I think most of the game jam games are like they have some cool visual stuff, but the visual polish is really, really low when compared to like demos. And it's more about the gameplay itself that is the focus on game jams.
Which creation have you been most satisfied with from all of the game jams that you have been to?
Oh, that's a hard question. I really like the like gameplay wise. There's one we did in 2012 called MyPop. It was actually released on Windows Phone.
Mm-hmm.
It was this infinite runner which had really cute main character and really cute enemies and stuff like that. And people actually played it a lot. We had high scores for the game, and basically your score was determined by how many seconds you could play it. And the highest score was like one person who had played it for 4 hours, which was really odd. And then another game I really liked was the Castle Game Jam game from 2016, where it was actually my first time doing a long game jam. Normally I just used to do these 48 hour jams, but the Castle Jam was first where the actual development time was like 5 days, or a little bit more, 5.5. And we did this Dave's Theory of Gravity, which was a puzzle game with 3D graphics like Portal, and the like puzzle part of it was this odd physics which you could see visualized. And what was really nice in that jam was that because it was a longer jam, I realized that by adding 2 days to your like main jam time, you can actually get a lot more polish done. And that's something I think I have applied to every other jam since the Castle Jam, by like trying to have the core gameplay working properly in half the time of the total time of the jam. So that leaves like another half to do with the polishing, which makes huge difference in gameplay.
Yeah. Then you can really have a nice product when you're done with the jam.
Yeah.
So when you maybe some of the listeners have been to any game jams, or maybe they think they're thinking of maybe they want to do it. Do you have any tips on what you should think of before you go there, like to prepare yourself?
Install the latest versions of the tools you need or you want to use. That's like the main thing, because well, depending on where the actual site is, internet might be slow or just like having really huge traffic when the jamming starts, because everyone is installing their software and downloading stuff and uploading. And one really good thing to learn is how to use version control, even if you're not like a programmer, because having like artists and musicians have access to version control where they can just update the assets without like having to do some USB stick management or Google Drive downloads and uploads. It makes stuff faster for everyone.
And I guess, as you said, to have them installed, it's also good to have made that choice as well on before. So you're not beginning the jam with thinking, okay, what should I use, and that kind of stuff. So you already know that when you're... so you hit the ground running, basically.
Usually what I do is like ask the team that what tool you want to use and then go with that.
You know many different tools?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Unity, WebGL. Well, those are two main tools I use currently. And then I used to use Flash a lot, and then Excaa for like Windows phones and Xboxes. One thing that I'm planning on just doing at some time is to check out Unreal Engine 4. It looks like it would be an awesome addition to my toolbox.
Yeah, for sure. And for all of the game jams that you have been to, do you usually have a team already, or do you meet some people there that you start to work with, or how do you usually go about it?
I usually join teams like based on ideas. Like in Finland, we have this system where, at least for the Finnish Game Jam organization jams, where we everyone who has a game idea will pitch their game ideas to other people, and it's usually like 20-second time that you have to like tell others what your game idea is, and then based on that the groups are formed. You can come with a pre-made group, but still you have to keep like your group open for new additions if someone is like, whoa, I want to do that idea. And that like makes sure that everyone in the group has like they are into the idea, and it's not like, but I didn't want to do this.
Yeah, so then you have worked with a lot of different people with a lot of different skill levels and all of that throughout the years.
Yeah, I have few jams I've been to, like I worked with people who had like 50 or 60 jams behind them, and then there's many I have been where the another person is like on their first jam and stuff like that. So.
And how do you think that dynamic works? Is it easy to adapt to the team?
Yeah, I think so. Because as long as everyone knows like what your skill level is, then you can like lower your expectations or make them higher. Like what the other person should be able to do. If they're like, this is my first time programming for Unity, then it's like, I would be happy if they could make like single menu screen work or something like that.
Yeah. And then, do you have like any tips for that kind of situations? Since you have been to it a lot of times, like how to handle like how you divide the work when you are with a team with people that you might not have met before?
Usually it's like if someone says they want to do something, then I'll just do something else myself. And if it's not done by the time it's like required, then I start doing it, which is not really optimal way of doing, but I'm kind of used to like coding everything myself at work. I used to be the only programmer for certain client solutions in our company for like 7 years. Nowadays we have three people doing stuff. So
you are the get things done kind of person. You you know how to get things done.
yeah, I have had lots of time to learn like how I can skip a lot of stuff to do. Like usually in game jams, I don't do stuff properly because it's a lot faster to like just use a lot of shortcuts, which is the main reason why I don't usually continue my game jam games unless they are really good. And at that point, it will be like redo everything properly.
Yeah, because you program it in a way that it works like for the demo, but it would be horrible to if you need to maintain it for a long time afterwards.
Yeah. Because that's, well, the limited time makes it like enforces you to do a lot of shortcuts instead of like thinking how I should do this structure stuff and like properly planning how to maintain everything and stuff like that. It's
I
a hassle.
I guess an analogy would be to if you build a house as a facade for a theater play.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah. It's quite different to how you build an actual house.
Yeah.
But so we can talk a little bit about your work as well, because you work as a game developer, right?
Yeah.
And you said you were was this at that company you're working at now that you were the only developer for 7 years?
Yeah, for certain client projects, we have always had 2 programmers, but the another one used to do like iOS programming, and I was doing web programming for client solutions.
Okay.
And I've been I started in the company in 2007 as a Flash coder and did Flash for like many years. Nowadays it's like purely WebGL stuff I'm doing, and then other like anything that is related to web, basically.
And what kind of games are you making?
Mostly gambling games for the Finnish national lottery.
Okay, and that must come with its particularities when it comes to like, because there are rules and regulations for what you can make, right?
Yeah, and well, every game we make gets checked by the police for its legality.
How do they do that?
They have this group of people who go through and test the game when it's done, and then they either give the permission to release it or deny the release. And it only happens when the game is actually complete, so they don't give any statements before that.
Okay, so an entire game could be rejected when after
Yes.
it's done.
Yes.
Huh.
Has happened only once, luckily.
Okay, but how do they ensure like because there has to be like the probabilities and that kind of stuff needs to be correct.
Yeah, those are like done on there are these lottery kind of games. So every time you click buy in the game, it checks from the server if the game wins and how much. And in the server they have this like huge list of lottery tickets from which they pick. So unlike the skill-based games, where your skill might actually affect something. Those have no like skills, and it's a fixed like return percentage of the money.
How do you mean? Like, do you have what kind of skill games do you have?
None. That was the point I was trying to make.
Okay. Sorry. You have
nothing is skill based.
Yeah. Of course. I know that.
So,
that makes sense. I guess.
Yeah. Do you have in Sweden? It's like this instant lottery games. In Finland, they are like these scratch tickets, basically, made online and with gameplay elements in them. But do you have something like scratch tickets that you can play online in Sweden?
Yeah.
That are like, which have gameplay in them. So not just scratching, but for example, some match tree mechanics or stuff like that.
And not that I know of, but I'm not a big lottery player.
Yeah.
But I've only seen the trisslott, which we have, which is a scratch ticket. But then you scratch it with the mouse. But that's it. Yeah.
We have similar to those, or actually in the Flash days, games used to be a lot of like that. But nowadays we have like, you pay like €1 to play for, and then you play 2 minutes and see if you win something. For example, by collecting balloons in a game. If you collect enough of certain color, then you win.
Okay, but it's already decided how many.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And you have made a lot of games like that, I presume.
Yeah, around 70 or something.
70. Wow. I mean, it must be you must have the ideal work for. I mean, being so good at making games quick as from all the demo scene parties and the game jams and all that.
Yeah, it's what I like most in like applying my jam skills to work skills is the fact that prototyping comes really easily nowadays. So use few days to do like a really simple gameplay prototype to see if some idea actually works. If it doesn't, then just scratch it. Because like one really important thing that is trying to think of a name. Supercell CEO said that kill your darlings fast. So don't get in love with gameplay ideas or your game ideas that I need to make this work. If it doesn't, just drop it and then just do something else instead that works better.
Yeah. So you're doing that's what you're doing in your day-to-day work as well then.
Sometimes, yeah. Nowadays a little bit less because it's due to the politics change in Finland. The ideas are more locked down from the start now.
Okay. But if we go back to the game jams again, we talked about some tips in preparation and when you join a team, but then for yourself and your work, the scoping. How do you usually go about scoping, and also like if you find a false end or like you start to do something but doesn't work out, it takes too much time. How do you handle that kind of situation?
Well, usually the first scope is like get the core mechanic working, and if there's like some troubles at some point of the jam, like let's say you use 12 hours and you get the main game idea is working, and then you start to test it with your team and everyone is like, this is not fun, and you don't come up with a solution like how could we fix this fast, then it's still okay to like let's think of something totally new and restart. The longest time after starting that we have restarted the whole game mechanic was like during a 48-hour jam. we restarted the whole like game we were doing 20 hours before deadline. It wasn't finished game when it was ready, but it was much more fun than what the first day prototype was.
Okay, so it was worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you can't make mechanic work in the like first 24 hours, then you will most likely not be able to make it work by adding another 24 hours. So better to like simplify things down. And you still can use all like the assets made during that first time, just ditch the gameplay and do something else.
Nowadays, do you get any sleep, or do you still do all-nighters?
Usually I do some like from 3 to 8 hours sleep during jams. So no, not doing all-nighters unless I get like really hyped up about the idea and then just forget to sleep. But yeah, trying to get some sleep, because otherwise after party will be like, I don't want to be here.
Oh, yeah. But what do you think about like the quality of what you make in relation to sleep deprivation?
It depends a lot on like what I'm doing when I'm tired. If it's for example some shader stuff or visual effects, then I think that like being really tired helps, as you are like have a little bit buzzed up. They say that sleep deprivation is like having 1 promille of alcohol in your blood, so gives you a lot of like creativity. But if you're doing something that requires precision, like let's say the core gameplay, then it's not really good to be sleep deprived. But for like this, where you need to have like this artistic vision for how the things look good, then it's really nice to have like.
Do you plan your work accordingly as well?
No, not really. Usually it's just like go with the flow. Makes jams much more fun, like when it's not pre-planned.
Well, that's part of the charm of
Yeah.
doing game jams. But you became the Superjammer 2016. What does that mean, really?
It's just this title we have in Finland, which is awarded in the Finnish Game Jam Awards for persons who have, well, jammed a lot, I think. Basically, it usually goes to the person of the jamming scene who has been most active jammer for that year.
And do you know roughly how many jams you attended that year?
Actually, in 2016, I did survival mode, which was the global game jam where we went to wilderness in Lapland without electricity.
Oh.
I can talk about that later on.
Yeah.
Then there was the castle game jam, pocket game jam, 0 hour game jam. That was actually about it. So not that many.
Okay, but that's still pretty cool. As I said earlier, you became the Superjammer of 2016, and during that year you said that you did the global game jam in Lapland without electricity.
Yeah, it was the Finnish Game Jam organization today. They have this challenge jams for the people who have jammed a lot. The first one was, I think, jamming in a bus that toured all the southern Finland during Global Game Jam. And this 2016 one was in Lapland, 50 kilometers from nearest town, and the nearest neighbor was like 15 kilometers away. It was an old cabin used by the lumberjacks like 50 years ago, and nowadays it's rented for like this holiday people who like to travel to the woods and keep a holiday that way.
Yeah.
And we went there and we only had like these aggregate machines giving power for 2 hours every day. And after that, it was just like hoping to get enough charge for laptops and backup batteries to last for the rest of the days. It really was fun to see that how much paper prototyping people were doing after their machines died.
Did that help? Could they use any of the things they came up with using the paper prototypes?
Yeah, at least for the team I was in, we did this card game, digital card game, which was, well, we mostly did the gameplay with paper because no one had power at that point.
That's interesting.
And one group did do their game by programming it totally with iPads, so they didn't have any power issues at any point.
But they had some other issues, I guess. It seems very hard to use an iPad.
Yeah, and doing programming with touchscreen is really not that good.
Have you been to any other concept game jams like this?
Yeah, in 2014 we did the bus jam. That year Finland had like 11 global game jam locations, and we went from one to another during the 48 hours in a bus. And we visited, I think, 7 locations or 8. Skipped all the like northern ones because that would have taken the whole weekend itself. We did a game with Oculus Rift that year. It was really hard to do like stuff when you needed power for the Oculus and power for your laptop. We had a system where the bus itself had like power outlets, but the fuses couldn't handle all of the people using the computers at once. So we had like every 2 hours it would switch, like the front of the bus gets electricity, the back of the bus gets electricity.
Okay. So you could only... Oh, now it's our turn. Now we can actually test the Oculus.
Yeah.
But I know you did a game jam really recently, right?
Yeah, last weekend actually.
What was that about?
Well, in Finland we have this TV show called Pikku Kakkonen, which means literal translation is Little Number 2.
Okay.
It's a kids show broadcast on the channel 2 of the national TV. So that's the like little kids program from the channel number 2 is the original meaning behind the name. And we were doing games in the area where they filmed the series, and they had this real life-sized dollhouse in there, which was really awesome to see. And yeah, the idea behind that jam was that the TV show had this campaign where kids could send their drawings of game characters with like text of what their special power is and what their pet is and where are they adventuring. And then the teams would do games based on those drawings.
And they sent in the drawings like a couple of weeks before or something like that?
The campaign started in the summer, I think. So we had like hundreds of paintings to pick from.
Okay. And did you use the actual paintings, or was it more like as an inspiration for the game?
Well, our game, like the main character, magician.
Magician.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Hard word to say in English.
Yeah.
Taikuri in Finnish.
Taikuri.
Yeah. It actually looks like the kid's drawing, but it was, of course, our artist made it like in a proper way. But the base concept is seen there really well. But now we didn't actually use any like pure scans from the paintings, but it was an inspiration. And in the game we did our gameplay mechanics were based on the ideas of what the characters are doing. For example, one character loved to jump, and his favorite food was bones. I think the character was dog, but the picture was so odd that I'm not sure what it was.
Okay.
It was made by a 4-year-old kid. And what we made from that is this small mini game where you jump on a trampoline as a dog and collect bones that are flying above it.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was really fun. And our main game was like a collection of mini games. Our magician draws a character from his hat, and then you play that character's mini game. And there was like five little mini games.
Did you win the game yet?
No, we don't usually have any competitions in the Finnish Game Jam events.
Okay.
So the only basic competitions we had were in 2010 and 11, and maybe in 12. I don't remember if there was. But yeah, at one point the organization decided that to promote like competition, because it makes the games more like the gameplay ideas don't get like really what's this word?
Unique or?
Yeah, unique when you have competition, because then people start like, oh, I know how to do this space shooter game. I've done it 5 times, and now I'm gonna do it 6 times to get it really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good to have the incentives to make unique stuff instead.
Yeah, and to make stuff without no pressure. Because I know some people who have actually skipped some game jam events because they had competition involved. So,
but from the other games that were made, did you have any like favorite?
From the last weekend's jam.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one where you drove with your pad, drove around in a like globe and collected those characters that the kids were drawing, and they had like 15 or 16 characters in their game, and that was like really awesome to see that a lot of kids' feedback got made into the game.
Oh yeah, and the kids will be able to see this somewhere, I guess, as well then.
Yeah, and then there was on Sunday there was a group of kids testing the games. That was also really nice to see, like how do 5 to 7-year-olds play your game. I actually learned that if you have touch controls and you only use like tap events, so just want something that gets tapped, just always add a drag event, because all the kids were like, first thing they were doing, they were trying to drag stuff around instead of tapping.
Aha. They're used to doing that from some other app or game they...
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Huh. Otherwise, like from game jams in general, and not particularly from yourself, but is there some game that have stood out from all of the years that you have been doing them?
Well, the one that I was actually really surprised to see is the Surgeon Simulator. That was done in some, I can't remember which game jam. I didn't participate in that, but I think it was during the global game jam, and I saw it when I was like checking YouTube gameplay videos of other sites at the end of the jam. And few years later, it got made into this really nice game, and I was like, oh, this was coming from a game jam.
You're a surgeon in some way.
Yeah, it's the one you can play with like VR set, and then just try to cure a patient by cutting it, and the controls are really bad.
Okay.
So it's a hilarious.
Oh yeah, I think I've played that one on Oculus like a couple of years ago. It's really strange. You have a saw and you try to saw.
It was Global Game Jam, yeah, in 2013.
I think we've come to the segment Spel under lupp. And I asked you to pick a game that has been very inspiring to you, and you said Baldur's Gate, and I want to ask why.
Well, it was. I really loved the game when it first came out, and it was like one of the first really huge role-playing games made on the PC in '98 or something.
And what things in it was new that you hadn't experienced before?
Well, basically the whole role-playing in such a large scope. I had played some games like these dungeon crawl games beforehand and Diablo and stuff like that, but they didn't have like this really intense storyline, and you didn't really like start to care about the characters because the writing and everything else before that wasn't that intense.
And do you think that the writing of Baldur's Gate was one of the most important parts to make it so immersive?
Yeah, and the really awesome hand-drawn graphics it has.
Ah, yeah. Why do you think? Because as you said, it's from the 90s, and why do you think it still has such an important role for you? I mean, have come other games since then that are also good RPGs.
Yeah, it's pure nostalgia. So it just reminds me of the times when games offered me something new to see, and I still like get that feeling from replaying those games that affected me as a kid. And for example, when playing newer games, for example, the Divinity 2 Original Sin, yeah, that's the one. That's the newest I played from RPGs. That actually I have played through 3 times since its release, because that's just, well, it's a really good game, but it didn't offer me like anything, wow, this is really awesome, I've never seen this before, because those feelings they have all happened in my teenage years with the role-playing game series. Because it's basically no one can actually, like if you have played the Baldur's Gate, for example, then most games just like they recycle the same feelings you get. So even though they have new stuff like, for example, the cooperative elements in Divinity, or like the fact that you have like tens of methods how you can actually solve a puzzle, but still they don't give you that wow factor anymore as much as the games you played as kids did.
Yeah. It's important what you experience when you're a formative age like that.
Yeah.
You bring them with you in life.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor basically.
Yeah.
Same as like eating something you loved as a kid is still good.
That's true. I think I'm starting to get pretty satisfied. Is there something you think that we haven't covered?
I could advertise about coming jams.
Sure. So you know if there are any upcoming jams?
Yeah, there's one that actually might be for the last time for people in Europe or under European Union. Is the 0 hour game jam, which happens when you move clocks to winter time. So you start jamming at 3 a.m. and then when the clocks move from 4 to 3 during that night, then you stop jamming. So you started at 3 and you end at 3. So you made a game in 0 hours. I don't know if the times are same in Sweden, but that's something I'm really waiting for. I have participated twice to that, and having to do a game in 1 hour, it's really fun. because basically you don't lose anything even if you don't succeed.
No. And it's if you're doing it at that time at night, then you should do something visual because that's when you are most creative.
Yeah, but the 1 hour isn't just focus on the gameplay at that point, I'd say.
Yeah. It will be hard to fit in the nice visuals as well as a nice gameplay in 1 hour.
Yeah. And then one another interesting jam that's happening in my hometown of Tampere is we have this museum of games here, and there will be a museum jam inside the game museum. So really expecting to see something awesome done there.
So you will make the jam while having old game cabinets and that kind of stuff all around you?
Yeah.
Any other jams?
Well, there's the global game jam that is happening again in the January, which is like the biggest jamming event of all time. And cannot remember the numbers, but last year there were like more than 17,000 games done, if I remember right, globally.
That's crazy.
Yeah, playing through all of those is basically impossible nowadays. But participating in that is really awesome, and anyone can participate basically. You can make your own like location and register for it. Actually, the registrations for site organizers are open now at globalgamejam.org, I think it was.
There are physical places you can go to all over the world where people will join up and make games for the global game. Yeah,
it's a really fun way to start jamming. If you're new to jamming, for example, just join Global Game Jam.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan, and it will. Even if you make something that is really, really bad, people won't notice probably, since there are too many games to play around with, since there are so many.
Yeah, that's true. And if you really like, after you have created something awesome, and you're still like, I don't want to publish it, no one forces you to do that. So.
Oh yeah, you can just keep it for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. I only have two questions that I always ask my guests.
Yep.
And the first one is there any way the listeners can follow you? Do you have Twitter or something like that?
I have YouTube account, and that's it. I'm not really much like a social media person, but in my YouTube I have like these making of videos of the game jam games I done, and the game jams I participated to.
Okay, that's cool. And what's your name on YouTube?
It's Excaa.
If someone is curious and wants to see how you make a game during a game jam, then you can watch it there.
Yeah, I have this screen capture from my monitor that takes a picture every 10 to 30 seconds and then just creates time-lapse from it.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to check that out after this interview. And the last question I have is, who do you think I should interview next?
Well, if you want to know about the Finnish Game Jam organization, then there's our president Anna-Kaisa Kultimo. And then one really interesting thing happening here in Tampere is the Mansa Games 18, which is like this event for mobile game developers, trying to like get Tampere more recognized as game developer town.
Okay, interesting. I'm looking forward to learn more about the Finnish gaming industry. I mean, you are. It's very impressive what you have been managed to make, I think. But I think that is it. Thanks a lot for participating, Henri.
Thank you for having me.